What's going on today, guys? Today we're going to be going over the pros and cons of deleting emissions equipment, specifically for a 2011 to 2016 2500, 3500 Duramax powered truck. First thing I will do is go over the pros and then the cons. First thing, longevity. These trucks are made to breathe. Diesel trucks need to breathe. The emissions equipment found on the LMLs, including the SCR, selective catalyst reduction, DPF, and the EGR, all suffocate the engine. These emissions control pieces inhibit the longevity of the vehicle and bring down the longevity of it. The EGR, because it's recirculating exhaust gases and putting soot back into the intake. The selective catalyst reduction, because it's one of the soot cooker items. It's not allowing the truck to exhale the way it needs to, allowing the engine to exhale the way it needs to. Same as the DPF filter, it's not allowing the engine itself to exhale. It's like basically breathing through a straw for hundreds and thousands of miles. Another pro about deleting the emissions equipment is increased fuel mileage. These trucks, yes, they show on the dash that you may be getting 18 miles per gallon. Don't believe the lyometer. That truck's really getting about 12 to 14. Even this truck stock, with its stock exhaust, stock intake, stock tuning, wasn't getting any better than maybe 17 on the highway. And this was hand calculated from my 2006. And all it had is an EGR. You'll increase the fuel mileage anywhere from 2 to 4 miles per gallon with tuning. And that's whether you're going up and downhill, flat surfaces, highway miles versus city miles. You will have added performance. You'll have tuning available from anywhere from like 30 wheel horsepower up to about 200 plus, depending on which tuning software and what tunes you go with and who's the tuner. And to be honest, that's about it for the pros. The cons, first thing we're going to state, it's against the law, and that's if you're state inspected, if you have state inspections, and if you're running a truck with DOT numbers. More than likely, if you're running a truck with DOT numbers, you do not want to delete your truck for the sole purpose that DOT can and will pull you over and inspect to see if you still have the functioning equipment on your vehicle. Same with state inspections. Go in go in every year to every other year for a state inspection, and if they do not see the equipment on there, then you will be fined and you will have to put the equipment back on there in order to legally drive your truck on the road. Another con is it can inhibit the performance of the vehicle. Yes, your truck will run great for the first maybe 40 to 100,000 miles, maybe even 150,000 miles. But don't expect it to run like it did the first day you drove it off the lot after, with, I would say, around 200,000 miles. That being because the truck has been so weighted down and not able to breathe like it needs to. Another thing is it can inhibit the longevity of the vehicle. If you have a malfunction in the DPF filter, in the SCR, in the EGR, these can all cause problems and mess up the longevity of your vehicle. Another thing is the equipment is very expensive to replace. Now an EGR may not be as expensive, but an SCR or the DPF itself can be up to $2,500 to replace it. And that could be just for the parts, not for the labor. That you never know with the emissions equipment whether when it starts messing up, whether it's just a little EGT bung, or it could be the entire exhaust system itself. The SCR and DPF could take a crap right there. The EGR could be cracked and causing coolant to flow into your intake, causing a whole nother mess of problems. So they're very expensive to maintain and very expensive to replace. Now, one thing I will mention, there is emissions compliant tuning, DPF on tuning. One of the big ones, I would say, that has done a lot of research and has a lot of stuff backed up is Duramax Tuner. They've done a lot of work with EFI Live tuning DPF on trucks, leaving the DPF filter, leaving all the exhaust system, all the emissions control equipment on the truck, and running tuning on it. And they've seen really good results with it. Yes, you will see more regens if you have a tuned vehicle that still has the emissions equipment still on, rather than without tuning. But they claim that it's not that big of a difference. I personally, I don't know from experience. This is all from what I've read. But with their experience and how well known they are, I wouldn't put it past them. Another thing about this emissions compliant tuning is that the horsepower and torque numbers are very, very close, within 4 to 5 to 10 horsepower and maybe up to 25 to 30 torque to deleted horsepower and torque numbers. So if you're thinking about tuning your vehicle, but you're still towing a lot, towing heavy, and live in a state inspected, or living in a place where you have state inspections, then there's a route you can go. If you don't live in a state that does inspections, like Georgia or Alabama, Florida, from what I know, does not inspect. Just the states that I'm surrounded by, that I know of, don't inspect. Then you're okay to some degree. DOT still has the right to pull you over and inspect because it's a federally mandated emissions equipment. But it's up to you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to delete the emissions equipment off your truck. I'm just stating facts and what I can give you, and the information I can give you to make your decision on whether you want to delete your truck or not. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you have any questions, please comment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you, and I will talk to y'all later.